Most of us remember at least one moment, perhaps fleeting and unexpected, when we felt overwhelmingly like ourselves. It might have happened on a still morning when you were utterly alone, gazing at a sunrise. Or maybe it struck in the middle of a busy day, playing with a child, laughing with friends, or losing yourself in a passion project. In that ephemeral instant, you felt as if all external labels, roles, and fears had fallen away, revealing a core part of you that was undeniably real. You might not know why that moment felt so true or what triggered it, but you do recall the warmth of its clarity. This is me. Afterward, the feeling likely slipped away beneath your daily obligations, but a seed had been planted. That brief brush with your own essence hinted at a deeper truth. Beneath the layers of social pressure and inherited beliefs, there exists a vibrant, unfiltered self. Once you've encountered even a glimpse of that presence, you can't help but seek it again. Yet, the quest to find yourself can feel like searching for a phantom. How do you uncover something intangible? People around you may have strong opinions on who you should be. Your culture, family, or social circle can impose invisible rules, shaping you into an identity that might not fit. It's no wonder many of us stumble through phases of confusion, dabbling in different paths, or feeling burdened by the sense of not quite belonging where we are. Still, the longing persists. We know there's a deeper meaning, a call to live life more fully, and that call resonates because psychology, spirituality, and personal testimonies repeatedly point to one truth: your authentic self, however you define it, holds a key to freedom, fulfillment, and genuine happiness. In the following chapters, we'll explore how this self-discovery journey unfolds, drawing from psychology to illuminate why certain mental shifts or emotional practices help. We'll bring in relatable storytelling, both hypothetical and drawn from common life experiences, to demonstrate how others have grappled with losing themselves and then bravely forging a path back to authenticity. We'll discuss tools and frameworks to guide you, from journaling prompts to deeper methods such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, mindfulness, or existential explorations. And we'll talk about stumbling blocks, social conditioning, self-doubt, trauma, perfectionism, or misguided ideals that can obscure the road back to your core. Ultimately, we'll see that life begins doesn't mean everything becomes perfect. Rather, it means that you step onto a path of truly living, engaging with each day wholeheartedly, and no longer performing a role written for you by someone else. You gain the courage to confront your fears and vulnerabilities, understanding them not as burdens, but as elements that shape the incredible mosaic of who you are. When we live from this place of genuineness, we connect more deeply with others, pursue our dreams with integrity, and find lasting contentment in the simple joys of existence. So let us begin this exploration with open hearts and curious minds, prepared to peel back layers, challenge assumptions, and step closer to the self you were always meant to be. Because the moment you find yourself, you're no longer living on autopilot. You're awake, alive, and ready to experience life in its full, vibrant spectrum. The phrase "finding yourself" can sound vague or overly philosophical, but at its core it addresses identity, the constellation of traits, beliefs, values, and experiences that converge to create a sense of I. While many aspects of identity are fluid, we grow, change our minds, adapt. There is also a stable thread that weaves through the varied stages of life. This stable essence might include your moral compass, your emotional tendencies, your passions, and the lens through which you see the world. Imagine identity as an onion with multiple layers. On the outermost layer you have your roles: student, parent, friend, employee, or artist. Just beneath that layer are the beliefs and norms you've absorbed from culture, religion, or family. Next, you find your personal preferences, quirks, and aptitudes. Do you prefer solitude or crowd energy, intellectual debate or hands-on projects, spontaneity or routine? At the core lies something intangible: your sense of self-worth, your spirituality, your fundamental worldview. Many of us remain stuck on the outer layers. We present ourselves to the world as Sarah, the marketing executive, or Carlos, the engineering student. We might not question how strongly these roles align with our deeper layers. Society often rewards us for fulfilling these roles and seldom encourages introspection about authenticity, so we might continue living on the surface, feeling a faint discontent we can't name. That discontent arises from incongruence, a term Carl Rogers, an influential humanistic psychologist, used to describe the mismatch between our real self and our ideal self. When the person we project externally isn't aligned with who we sense ourselves to be inside, we experience tension or inner conflict. It might manifest as restlessness, anxiety, or persistent low-grade unhappiness. Perhaps you feel you're acting out a script at work or in your relationship, never sure if you're pleasing others at the expense of your true desires. Over time, this facade can erode well-being, leading to existential questions like, is this all there is? Or, why am I always so unfulfilled? Many psychological theories point out how losing touch with our core self can breed a form of alienation, both from ourselves and from the broader community. For instance, if you're forced into a career path by family expectations, every day on the job might feel like wearing someone else's clothes, uncomfortable and ill-fitting. You wonder why you're not grateful for your achievements when you're successful on paper, but your soul hungers for something intangible. In contrast, self-revelation, those moments or habits that allow you to glimpse and nurture your authentic self, cultivate a sense of belonging within your own skin. People who find themselves often talk about a softness in their chest, a clarity in their mind, or a sense of quiet conviction. They may not have all the answers, but they know they're on the right path because it resonates with their internal truths. In this place of alignment, decisions become more intuitive. Even adversity feels more manageable because they're not at war with themselves. So why does finding yourself matter so much that entire industries and spiritual traditions revolve around it? Simply put, it is the bedrock of well-being and meaning. Maslow's hierarchy of needs places self-actualization, becoming the fullest version of yourself, at the pinnacle of human motivation. When you're self-actualized, you're free to express your deepest capabilities and passions, influencing the world in ways that resonate with your unique gifts. Moreover, psychologically, individuals who feel deeply connected to their authentic selves often report higher life satisfaction, better stress management because they know what's worth worrying about, deeper relationships because they're able to present themselves honestly, stronger sense of purpose and clarity in decision-making. As a society, we benefit from self-actualized individuals too. They're the innovators, healers, artists, and pioneers. They live from a place of originality rather than conformity, often driving cultural evolution. In essence, finding yourself is not a selfish pursuit but a crucial step in contributing fully to the world. Picture how a colourless painting bursts into vibrancy when you use the right brush, palette, and technique. Similarly, when you align with your true identity, your life gains vibrancy, depth, and meaning. The world around you also feels that energy, reaping the benefits of your genuine presence. When we explore the notion that life begins when you find yourself, we're dealing with more than motivational slogans. Several psychological frameworks shed light on why self-discovery is pivotal and how it occurs. Below are some key theories and concepts that illuminate the journey. Erik Erikson, a developmental psychologist, proposed 8 stages of psychosocial development, each stage presenting a crisis that shapes one's sense of self. In adolescence, we confront identity versus role confusion. While that's classically a teen challenge, figuring out who we are and what we stand for, many adults continue grappling with it. If you rush past this identity work by adopting others' expectations, you carry role confusion into later life stages. You might be physically grown but still uncertain about your real beliefs and values. Conversely, if you navigate identity formation successfully, you step into adulthood with a sense of authenticity, which sets the tone for your entire future. Carl Rogers emphasized self-concept and the importance of congruence between our actual self and our ideal self. In his therapeutic work, Rogers employed unconditional positive regard, creating a safe space for people to explore who they were beneath social masks. He observed that clients who felt accepted without judgment were more likely to uncover and embrace their authentic inclinations. This is relevant to our life begins when you find yourself theme because self-discovery demands an environment, whether external or internal, where we feel safe enough to see ourselves honestly. Maslow's hierarchy of needs lists self-actualization at the top. describing it as the human drive to realize one's fullest potential. According to Maslow, once our basic needs, food, safety, belonging, esteem, are met, we strive to become who we truly are. Self-actualized individuals often exhibit creativity, autonomy, and deep appreciation for life, traits that align strongly with the theme of finding yourself. Instead of simply surviving or conforming, they express themselves in ways that serve both personal fulfillment and the greater good. Existential psychologists like Rollo May and Viktor Frankl explored the tensions of being human, namely, our desire for meaning and our awareness of mortality. They argue that living authentically means acknowledging the responsibility we have in crafting our own destinies. This can be both exhilarating and terrifying because it leaves fewer excuses for not being who we truly are. However, it also provides a sense of freedom. You're not beholden to predestined roles or societal molds. Finding yourself thus becomes a courageous act of self-creation within the bounds of existential freedom. George Kelly's personal construct theory suggests that we each develop unique constructs, mental filters, through which we interpret the world. Finding yourself in this light means examining and possibly revising those constructs if they're outdated or inherited from others. If you define success purely by societal standards, wealth, social status, you might never check whether these measures resonate with your deeper self. Kelly's approach encourages frequent self-examination and redefinition, a process that fosters genuine self-alignment. In self-determination theory, SDT, psychologists Edward Deci and Richard Ryan propose that humans have three core psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. When these needs are met, we thrive. Finding yourself strongly correlates with autonomy, the sense that our actions arise from our genuine volition rather than external pressures. Moreover, as we discover our passions and strengths, we feel more competent, and by being authentic in our relationships, we fulfill relatedness on deeper levels. Hence, the process of self-discovery is about creating conditions in which these three innate needs are consistently nurtured. Recent neuroscience research adds another layer. Self-reflection activates specific networks in the brain, like the default mode network, that are involved in introspection, daydreaming, and sense of identity. While the scientific details are complex, the gist is that our brains have built-in mechanisms for pondering who we are. Through consistent self-reflection, journaling, therapy, mindful meditation, we train these networks. Over time, we become more proficient at recognizing our inner states, clarifying our thoughts, and tapping into a stable sense of self. If finding yourself were easy, everyone would glide through life self-assured and content. Clearly, that's not the case. Most of us wrestle with obstacles that block self-discovery, ranging from societal pressures to ingrained mental habits. Understanding these challenges is crucial to overcoming them. One of the most pervasive hurdles is social conditioning. From infancy, we absorb norms and values from parents, teachers, media, and peers. Not all conditioning is bad. Some fosters empathy and collaboration. But it can become problematic if it forces you into a mold that conflicts with your true nature. For instance, if your family has a legacy of doctors, you might attend medical school even if your passion lies in art. Breaking free from these expectations requires courage, as stepping outside the norm can trigger disapproval or criticism. Story. Snapshot. Imagine a boy named Aaron, raised in a household where sports are the ultimate mark of success. Despite being talented in music, he pushes himself into football. By high school, he's anxious, unmotivated, and resentful without fully understanding why. On a chance trip to a friend's band rehearsal, he feels lit up inside. For the first time in years, he's not just going through the motions, he's alive. That flicker of authenticity conflicts with everything his family values. Does he continue sports to keep the peace, or follow this newly ignited spark? Aaron's predicament illustrates how social conditioning can become a labyrinth of confusion, with authenticity hidden in a dusty corner. Our fear of rejection or social conflict often keeps us from showing our true selves. Humans are wired for belonging. We rely on our communities for emotional support, resources, and shared identity. If finding yourself means risking that sense of belonging, you might hesitate or try to blend in. However, ironically, Forging superficial connections while hiding your genuine self only leads to loneliness. You're accepted, but for a facade rather than who you are. Even if you sense who you are, self-doubt might creep in, especially if your talents or aspirations deviate from the ordinary. You may feel like an imposter in your own life, questioning if you have the right to follow your passion. This phenomenon is particularly common among high achievers and creative individuals. They belittle their accomplishments or fear being found out as less capable than people think. Overcoming imposter syndrome involves recognizing that everyone has unique gifts, and authenticity doesn't require perfection. It requires ownership of both strengths and vulnerabilities. Traumatic experiences ranging from abuse to sudden loss can disrupt our inner world. Trauma often leads to dissociation, or a disconnection from the body and emotions as a coping mechanism. In that state, it becomes doubly challenging to find yourself because it's emotionally painful to explore your inner landscape. Therapy or trauma-informed care may be crucial in guiding survivors to rebuild trust in themselves and reclaim a sense of safety. In a fast-paced culture, many people bury themselves in work, social media, or endless to-do lists, rarely pausing for self-reflection. Although productivity can be beneficial, constant busyness can also be a shield. Avoiding the vulnerability of asking, "Who am I and what do I truly want?" Without these reflective pauses, life can slip by in a blur of meetings, deadlines, and digital noise, leaving you disconnected from deeper aspirations. In some cultures, introspection is misconstrued as self-indulgence. Individuals might be told to suck it up, serve the family, or focus on practicality. These messages stifle personal exploration. Genuine self-discovery might even be seen as rebellious or selfish. Navigating these cultural taboos demands a nuanced approach, honoring your roots while granting yourself the freedom to grow in directions that nourish your spirit. Modern life often presents an abundance of choices: careers, lifestyles, social circles, even new countries to move to. Paradoxically, this can lead to choice overload. Unsure where your real passions lie among so many options, you might hop from one pursuit to another, never settling long enough to explore your identity deeply. While variety can broaden your perspective, it can also become a form of avoidance if you're perpetually searching outside rather than reflecting on what resonates inside. If so many forces conspire to keep us from finding ourselves, how do we break free? One essential step is unlearning, recognizing and letting go of beliefs, habits, or identities that no longer serve us or never truly did. Limiting beliefs are convictions about what you can or cannot do, often formed in childhood or after negative experiences. Examples include, "I'm not creative, I'll never succeed at running my own business," or "people like me don't get to follow their dreams." These beliefs become mental filters that shape your actions. By identifying them, you begin the unlearning process. Perhaps you keep repeating, "I'm not creative," because a teacher belittled your art skills in grade school. Is that teacher's opinion still valid? Usually it's not. You can test that belief through small creative projects: painting a simple watercolour, writing a poem, or improvising music. Over time, evidence to the contrary weakens the limiting beliefs hold. Unlearning also involves stepping beyond your comfort zone to discover what resonates. If you were raised in a traditional household that valued practicality above all else, you might have internalized the idea that artistic pursuits are frivolous. Yet a part of you may yearn to dance, paint, or write. Trying such activities is scary because it confronts your identity. But that discomfort is a sign you're peeling back old labels and making space for self-discovery. Real life. Example: consider Mia, a corporate lawyer who excelled academically all her life. She was praised for her discipline and intellect, yet she felt an inexplicable pull toward interior design. Initially, she dismissed it. "I'm not artistic," she'd tell herself. "My life is law." One day, a friend invited her to help decorate a new apartment. Mia found herself immersed in colour swatches, furniture layouts, and creative brainstorming. She felt not only engaged, but also alive. Could it be she had been limiting herself? Mia began unlearning her narrative that she was purely the rational lawyer type. That mental shift opened a path toward a more fulfilling, balanced life that integrated both her analytical and creative sides. Sometimes, finding yourself means discarding a role you've outgrown. This might involve leaving a stable but unfulfilling job or transitioning out of a one-dimensional identity, like being the good child who always obeys. Shedding old roles can be painful. We worry about disappointing others or losing the familiar structure. But clinging to outdated roles prevents growth. When we let go, we reclaim the energy spent upholding a false facade and redirect it into discovering who we're becoming. It's tempting to think that unlearning is just about external changes, quitting a job, moving cities, or changing your wardrobe. While these can be catalysts, the deeper transformation is internal. If you move abroad but carry the same limiting beliefs, your sense of self may remain unchanged. Conversely, an internal shift, like adopting a growth mindset or deciding to finally trust your intuition, can radically alter how you see your existing environment. You might realize your current job could be restructured to fit your passions, or your home city has opportunities you never saw before. Unlearning requires embracing not knowing, an uncomfortable but essential space. As you discard inherited beliefs or established roles, you'll likely face a void where your old identity used to be. Some call this the neutral zone in transitions, a liminal space between the old and the emerging self. It's easy to panic and rush back to the familiar, but if you wait patiently in this uncertainty, you open room for new insights about your desires, values, and strengths. Meditation fosters self-awareness, teaching you to observe thoughts and emotions without immediate judgment. This skill is crucial for recognizing which parts of you are genuine versus adopted scripts. A simple practice is to sit quietly for 5 to 10 minutes daily, focusing on your breath. Notice thoughts or feelings as they arise and gently label them, thinking, worrying, planning, without diving into each narrative. Over time, you'll develop a clear-eyed perspective on your mental patterns. While not the final word on who you are, tools like the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI, Big Five Personality Test, or Enneagram can provide insights into your tendencies. Think of them as starting points for reflection. If a test suggests you're more introverted, for instance, does that resonate with your lived experience? Does it explain why you feel drained by constant socializing? Use these assessments as springboards to explore how your personality influences your choices, relationships, and environment. Art, music, dance, photography, any creative endeavor can be a powerful mirror for your inner world. You may discover hidden aspects of yourself in the fluidity of watercolors or the rhythm of dance steps. Creativity bypasses linear logic, allowing you to express emotion or intuition you can't quite capture in words. Even if you don't consider yourself an artist, engaging in creativity with an open mind can yield surprising revelations about who you are. Values are your compass. Principles like authenticity, compassion, adventure, stability, curiosity, or community. When you live in harmony with your core values, you feel aligned. When you violate them, internal conflict arises. ACT often includes values, clarification exercises. Make a list of possible values, then highlight the ones that resonate most deeply. Next, assess how your daily life aligns with these priorities. Are you truly living your values, or just thinking about them? While self-discovery is an internal process, it's deeply affected by our relationships. Humans are inherently social, and the people we surround ourselves with can either foster authenticity or stifle it. In many cases, finding yourself involves recalibrating how you relate to others. Close friends, family members, romantic partners, these people serve as mirrors, reflecting parts of our identity back to us. In healthy relationships, the reflection is compassionate yet honest. You might see aspects of yourself you hadn't noticed, maybe a knack for empathy or a pattern of withdrawing when conflict arises. Over time, this synergy of supportive relationships helps you refine who you are. However, in toxic or codependent dynamics, the mirror can distort your image. Emotional manipulation, gaslighting, or incessant criticism can erode your sense of self, making it difficult to trust your instincts. Part of finding yourself might involve creating boundaries or stepping away from those who consistently undermine your growth. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability shows that opening up about our fears and weaknesses can pave the way for truly intimate connections. When you hide your authentic self, masking your doubts or quirks for fear of judgment, you form only shallow bonds. But when you risk showing your genuine emotions, you allow others to see and accept you, flaws and all. This reciprocity builds stronger relationships that, in turn, affirm your authentic identity. Finding yourself may necessitate re-evaluating your social circle. If certain relationships revolve around superficiality, constant negativity, or rigid expectations, you might question whether these circles still serve your growth. While it doesn't mean you must cut ties entirely, you can limit emotional investment in relationships that hinder self-expression. Simultaneously, seek communities where you feel safe to explore interests or discuss ideas, be it a local writing group, a hiking club, or an online forum focused on personal development. In many cultures, identity is shaped through communal narratives, shared histories, traditions, and storytelling. Engaging with like-minded individuals who share your values can reinforce the sense that you're not alone in your journey. This support becomes particularly crucial during challenging periods. If you're transitioning careers or leaving a long-held identity, mentors and peers who've made similar leaps can provide guidance and moral support. Healthy boundaries ensure you protect the authenticity you've cultivated. This might mean saying no to obligations that conflict with your values or well-being, speaking up when a loved one demeans your newfound passions, taking time alone to reflect and recharge, even if others demand constant presence. Boundaries aren't selfish. They maintain a clean, energetic space where your self-discovery can flourish. The more you honour your boundaries, the more stable your self-concept becomes, and the easier it is to share that authentic self with the world. At some point in the search for self, the question arises, what am I here to do? Purpose often guides us to the corners of our psyche where our deepest passions and gifts reside, bridging our personal identity with the outside world. Purpose doesn't necessarily mean a grandiose mission like curing cancer or ending world hunger. It's the sense of direction that aligns with your values and talents, giving meaning to your daily actions. For one person, purpose may be raising compassionate children. For another, it might be building sustainable communities or perfecting a craft. The key is that the purpose resonates internally, igniting excitement or devotion. Ikigai is a Japanese concept roughly translating to reason for being. It combines 4 pillars: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, or at least supported by. Where these elements intersect lies your Ikigai, your unique calling. Though not everyone has a neat, definable Ikigai, the pursuit of it fosters self-discovery. You reflect on what activities bring joy, how they align with your skills, and whether they can serve others. This reflection integrates the personal, finding yourself, with the communal, contributing to the world. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi studied flow, a state of total absorption in an activity where time seems to disappear. People often find themselves in flow when they're fully engaged in pursuits that match their skill level with a meaningful challenge. Experiencing regular flow is linked to higher life satisfaction and can signal the kind of activities that resonate with your authentic self. If you consistently hit flow states while teaching, writing, or coding, that might hint at a purposeful path. Purpose often involves an element of service. While self-discovery may seem self-focused, it naturally expands into how you contribute to society. People who anchor their lives in service, whether teaching kids, supporting mental health initiatives, or creating art that inspires, feel a sense of interconnectedness and meaning. Knowing your efforts make a difference elevates your identity from a private pursuit to a shared purpose that benefits others. Purpose isn't static. As you evolve, your passions and life circumstances may change. A mother whose primary purpose was raising children might later pivot to activism once her kids are grown. Being flexible in redefining purpose ensures you remain authentic in different life seasons. Your sense of self can deepen over decades, each iteration building upon the lessons of the last. Finding yourself isn't a switch you flip, it's a gradual unfolding. We often imagine self-realization as a single epiphany. In reality, it's more like a series of small steps that lead to profound changes over time. One practical habit is a daily mindful check-in. In the morning or before bed, pause to ask, what did I do today that felt deeply me? Where did I compromise my authenticity out of fear or habit? What small step can I take tomorrow to be more aligned with who I am? These questions foster ongoing awareness, ensuring you don't drift back into autopilot. Even if some days feel mundane, the consistent practice of introspection keeps you tethered to your evolving core. Self-discovery isn't linear. Expect setbacks and detours. You might revert to old habits, face criticism, or realize a particular path isn't what you expected. It's tempting to see these challenges as failures, but if you view them as feedback loops, information guiding you back toward authenticity, they become essential parts of your growth. In therapy or coaching, this is reframed as a learning mindset. Each misstep is an opportunity to refine who you are and what you want. Don't forget to celebrate moments where you act from your true self. Maybe you set a boundary with a friend, or you auditioned for a community theatre, or you finally took a weekend trip alone. Recognize these milestones for what they are: victories in reclaiming yourself. Celebrations reinforce the neural pathways associated with positive behaviour. Over time, living authentically feels more natural and rewarding. Self-discovery can be emotionally taxing, uncovering buried traumas, confronting limiting beliefs, or facing major life changes. That's why self-care, exercise, adequate rest, a balanced diet, emotional support is critical. Sometimes the best way to find yourself is to listen to your body's signals and practice compassion toward your emotional ups and downs. Pushing yourself relentlessly can lead to burnout, negating the very peace and clarity you're trying to cultivate. This ongoing journey is both humbling and liberating. You realize you'll never be a finished product, just as a painter's masterpiece can always be refined, or a gardener's work evolves with seasons, and that's perfectly okay, even beautiful. Life's richness lies in the unfolding, the daily dance between your authentic self and the ever-changing circumstances around you. A key element is embracing imperfection. In finding yourself, you'll unearth old wounds, regrets, or parts of your personality you wish were different. Don't interpret these discoveries as flaws, but as integral pieces of your human tapestry. As the Japanese art of kintsugi teaches us, the cracks and chips in pottery can be mended with gold, making the vessel more exquisite. Likewise, your vulnerabilities and past mistakes can be repurposed into wisdom and empathy, forming a stronger, more compassionate version of you. When you live authentically, the impact ripples outward. Your relationships become more genuine, inviting deeper intimacy. You can inspire others who feel trapped by external expectations to seek their own truth. Through your passions, you contribute novel ideas, art, or solutions to the world. Even your daily interactions, smiling at a neighbour, handling conflict with integrity, carry an energy that fosters collective well-being. Think back to that moment described at the beginning, the quiet revelation where you felt undeniably real. Now multiply that experience by 1,000, woven through your days and nights. That's the power of full-fledged self-discovery, a tapestry of awareness, authenticity, and alignment. Life stops feeling like a dress rehearsal and starts feeling like a heartfelt performance, unpolished perhaps, but undeniably yours. Is there a price to pay for stepping off the beaten path? Sometimes. You might lose people who preferred the old version of you. You might face confusion or fear as you shape a new identity. Yet, as countless personal testimonies attest, these costs pale in comparison to the reward of truly beginning your life, unburdened by the weight of pretense, free to express your soul's unique colour. In the end, life begins not just once, but over and over as you delve ever deeper into your authentic being. May that realization fill you with hope, courage, and a boundless sense of possibility. Because the world needs your genuine voice, your raw brilliance, your unguarded heart, and you deserve nothing less than the fullest expression of who you truly are.